Welcome to episode 12 of Blockchain Bytes. I'm Gautam Paul from NZ Blockchain Forums, and today we're going to be having a discussion with Ben Rose, who is the country head for Binance New Zealand. And before we sort of go into the conversation about obviously the crypto and the market and in New Zealand, let's just hear a bit more about yourself, Ben. How did you get into the crypto market? What's your background?
Yeah, no worries. So, look, I'm Ben. I'm a dad of three, a husband of one. I've been in New Zealand for almost 20 years now, and look, my background is sales and marketing. First of all, in TradFi, so banking, health insurance, life insurance. More recently, media and technology. I've been into crypto as an individual for a couple of years now, and so when I saw that Binance were looking to come to New Zealand and launch in this market, it brought together, a few things that I really like: growing new things, working with smart people, and also spreading the word of crypto.
And timing is usually a great thing when it comes to luck or being unlucky and so on. And I think we have to sort of just get this bit out of the way before we go into the main conversation. FTX and Binance. What can you say? Anything? What can you say? Is it still? I mean, it's obviously had a huge effect on the marketplace and crypto in general.
Yeah, look, I won't comment on another business. That's for others to do. I suppose the key thing for us is, we see what's happened as a real wake-up call for the industry, and the industry needs to get its act together so that we can reestablish consumer confidence. And in our view, that's regulation and licensing is a key way to do that, to give people comfort and certainty. What you've seen in recent events is not anything to do with a flaw in the technology, but it's more showing what happens when a business is not run with ethical standards. And so look, that's for us. We're all about building crypto, and this has set the industry back. So lots of people have been affected negatively by it. We just want to make sure that the industry learns lessons and we move forward from it.
Doesn't that go against the idea of DAOs and decentralization, though? Because governance is something that's really come out of this whole conversation.
Yeah, so we don't see centralization or decentralization as a binary thing. There's a spectrum, right? So, I suppose where we sit as a centralized exchange on there is we allow people access to things. We're part of an ecosystem which has different levels of centralization. But at the moment, so early on in this technology, this industry, there are lots of users who want access with a username and a password and have someone to hold the crypto for them. Others don't. Others use us to buy, sell, and trade, and then they hold their crypto elsewhere using their own keys, their own cold wallet. So I don't think it goes against it. I think centralization is a spectrum, and we will see different organizations appear at different points in there as consumers want that.
Okay. So New Zealand, Aotearoa, what's the crypto market like here in terms of the number of users, retail investors, and the sort of overall adoption and education of cryptocurrencies?
So it's hard to tell because the industry hasn't published, market share stats or usage stats yet. So we're working with others in the industry on that. But the closest proxy that we've got is a survey that was done by the FMA relatively recently, and that survey, which had a reasonable sample size, said that 1 in 10 Kiwis have some form of digital asset, crypto or NFT. So let's take that as the closest numbers. Let's say 10%. That positions us behind the global average. So the global average, the OECD countries tend to be anywhere between 15 and 20%. Gets quite a lot higher in some other countries, but let's say we're 10%. The average is between 15 and 20. That gives you a sense of, I suppose, the distance we've got to go to catch up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when did Binance decide to set up a branch in New Zealand and explore this marketplace or this market?
So Binance has had a strategy for a few years now of setting up local licensed or registered entities, depends on what's available in that country, where our users are. So New Zealand has been on the roadmap, but I started earlier this year. We launched a few months later. So it's a fast-moving industry, but that's actually absolutely part of our strategy, and that's why we're here. So we're here because we've got New Zealand-based users using the platform. When you register as a financial service provider, as we have, that means you you subscribe to an external disputes resolution scheme. It means that you have terms and conditions created that are governed under the jurisdiction of the country that your users are in. So those are things that we're doing, as well as bringing New Zealand dollars into the platform, that we think is important for local users. So yeah, and that's what we've done in lots of other markets too.
How do you expect Binance New Zealand, though, to make a real difference in the local crypto industry?
So the local crypto industry is active and ambitious, but quite small. So there are some local players who are doing good things. There aren't many global exchanges that have come here, and so what that has meant historically, and we think that's one of the reasons for the lower penetration of crypto here, is that New Zealanders haven't had access to the types of services and products that others would in other countries. They've paid a bit more for it than they might in other countries, and so we see that as an opportunity. So it's an industry where there's some really cool things happening, but there are some real obstacles for New Zealand Web3 businesses that they need to overcome, and we're focused on helping with that too.
And that sort of leads into, from an education point of view, do you have a plan in place about how you're going to go about doing that? Will you be doing roadshows, or, obviously, exhibition, conference, marketplace? Is that something that you can talk about right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, a key part of our role is education, because I'm biased. I work at Binance, but I think crypto is fantastic. I think there's lots of potential opportunities that it gives people that the traditional finance system hasn't. However, it's new. As yet, that it's not licensed in New Zealand, so it means that there's a lot of risk and there's a lot of unknowns. So education before you get involved is really, really important. So we do a number of things globally that we bring here, things like Binance Academy, which is an online education platform where you can go and educate yourself about everything crypto. But also we're doing a docu-series at the moment where we're traveling around the country busting myths about crypto. We're working with local media also on, telling the other side of the crypto story that hasn't traditionally come through in the media in New Zealand. So, telling people about the fact that, for example, you can now buy flights with Emirates, you could buy a coffee with Starbucks overseas, you can spend money with Microsoft through crypto. So there are lots of use cases that haven't been discussed, and we see that as as an industry leader, we see that as our role to really help make that awareness known and grow that education.
And we know that, we all know, well, we know, but maybe not the audience, that you officially launched 1 month ago. But we haven't heard much about the current progress and what's happening behind the curtain. Can you tell us more about what your current state of business is, or the focus is?
Yeah, sure. So we launched on the 29th of September. So that's almost a couple of months now. Look, we've been really pleased with the growth. It seems like there was a need for an exchange like us here to be part of the ecosystem. So yeah, look, we've been pleased in terms of new user signups and activity on the platform. But we think there's a long way to go in New Zealand. So particularly when things happen that damage confidence in the industry, everyone feels that. So we're really focused on making sure this isn't just a short-term success, but this is a long-term success for not just for us, but for the New Zealand industry more broadly.
Do you think the retail investors, who've probably been quite badly spooked by what's been happening, do you think they will come back? Or
it's really interesting. The story is very different across different coins. So we've seen with Bitcoin, for example, very little change. A stat recently published was that 67% of Bitcoin haven't changed hands. So we've seen some people increasing their holdings of coins as the value's gone down. We've seen other people sell as they get spooked by some of the volatility. But it's interesting, for someone to sell, there has to be a buyer. So it's a two-sided market. So we've seen historically a few of these bear runs. People have called they've called the bottom. They've said that crypto's dead. They said that it's all a scam. But here we are again, and we expect this bear market to end, and we expect a bull market. If I could tell you when it was, I'd be a very rich man. I can't, but we're focused on building for the future, and so are lots of our users.
That perfectly leads me into my next question, actually, because in terms, if we look into sort of longer time expectancy, what is the long-term goal of Binance New Zealand for the next 3, 5, 10 years?
Yeah, so look, first of all, I think it's really important to say, as a business, we're very young, we're 5 years old, but we take a very, very long-term view of our business and of the industry. So, we believe that we're at the very early stages of this industry. We intend to be around for the duration. For New Zealand, we've got a team now onshore. We're growing that team. We intend to build that team. We intend to build awareness and uptake in the market. If we go by numbers, 10% is the current penetration in New Zealand. I would like to make that 20, and I would like us to be the 10% difference.
Okay. And when talking about crypto, obviously Bitcoin is everyone knows about Bitcoin. It's the first thing that comes to mind. And we all know crypto is not only about Bitcoin. There's
right.
others. I mean, can you share more about sort of the current crypto industry, the technologies, utilities, different tracks, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, we're agnostic of coins, by the way. So you'll never hear me promoting a specific coin. We're an exchange, just like the stock exchange. Stock exchange doesn't promote an individual company. So we have, at the moment, we've got over 350 different coins on our platform, and there's a wide range of projects that those represent. We've got from Bitcoin to Ethereum. We've got proof of work Ethereum, proof of stake Ethereum, the whole gamut. Really, what a coin is it's from a project. It represents the value that you believe that project carries. So what we always say to people is, before investing in a coin, investigate the project, look at who the founders are, look at what their track record is, do your own research. But yeah, look, it's a fairly broad church that you'll find in our exchange.
Thank you. And how does Binance make sure the user fund is safe?
Yeah, so look, through a number of ways. The first thing to say is that we publish monthly reserve reports on the stablecoin BUSD on our platform. We have public addresses which we make public and regularly publish, of where our user funds are held. We also have a fund called the SAFU, which is $1 billion fund, which we proactively put together in 2018. On hand for, if our users were to get hacked, then we can reimburse them for that. So, the thing about blockchain and crypto is that it should be transparent. So we're really focused on publishing the proof of reserves, and we want to call for other industry players to do the same, because we think that what we've seen recently shows that operations of an exchange should be scrutinized just as much as the peripheral activities they do there. So we think it's important that on-chain analytics get used to reconcile user balances. We think it's important that all exchanges publish proof of reserves to make sure that user funds are protected and present, and not used as it appears they have been used in recent cases overseas.
And can you share with us the sort of regulatory compliance Binance has with the New Zealand government?
Yeah, so globally there are two ways really of regulating what we call VASPs, virtual asset service providers. In some countries they have a specific crypto license, and in other countries they have a traditional financial services framework that crypto businesses fit into. So New Zealand is the latter. So at the moment, we are registered as a financial service provider in New Zealand. So what that means, the registrar is MBIE, and as a financial service provider, it means that we are an AML, anti-money laundering reporting entity to the Department of Internal Affairs. It means that we report suspicious transactions to the police, to their specific unit dedicated to that. It means that we, as I said before, we're part of an external disputes resolution scheme, so that if a New Zealander has a complaint that they don't think has been handled sufficiently well by us internally, they can take it to that external disputes resolution scheme. And it also means that you have to have terms and conditions compliant with the laws of New Zealand in the jurisdiction of New Zealand. So that's that's what we do. And it's a big focus for us. So our compliance team are work really closely with the DIA, with MB, but we also communicate regularly with other regulators like the FMA, because if we were to offer futures and derivatives in New Zealand, which we intend to at some point in the future, they would become a regulator for that. So what one of the challenges is in New Zealand is there are quite a lot of regulators involved, and it's fairly fragmented. So one of the things that we think would make a big difference in this market, and we've called for it since before the events of the last few weeks, is for New Zealand to have a specific crypto license. And it's something that Australia, for example, is having a look at. And what that would mean is that any business that wanted to lawfully offer crypto products and services in this country would have to have that license. Just like to be a bank or an insurance company, you have to have a license. And there are fairly high bars to jump over to qualify for that, which means that consumers can have more confidence in dealing with those. They know who is and who isn't reputable, but also other businesses in the country will have more confidence in dealing with crypto businesses, because one of the key obstacles in New Zealand, which is quite unusual globally, is the sort of the reticence and hostility of the banks towards working with crypto businesses. So we think a license would help with that too.
Mm-hmm. What do you say to the skeptics out there, whether they're in big business, government, or finance, to win them over to the sort of long-term use cases and benefits of crypto and blockchain technology?
Well, I don't say anything. If somebody is anti-crypto or against crypto, they're absolutely entitled to their belief. There are far more people and businesses who are interested in and open to it, and eventually, I believe that their minds will change. It was only a few months ago that the global head of JP Morgan was decrying Bitcoin as a Ponzi scheme, and he was fairly vocal. And there's a man with one or two vested interests in his organization succeeding. Well, now what you're seeing is that JP Morgan have launched their own digital currency, and they're also using blockchain for cross-border payments. So look, I don't say anything. I let the technology speak for itself and focus on those people who are more open to it.
Last question. Do you have any incubation plan for promoting local crypto industries here?
Yeah, so Binance is an ecosystem of different businesses, and one of the bigger ones is Binance Labs. So it's a venture capital fund that I believe I'm right in saying it's one of the world's largest blockchain investors. So we are always actively looking for projects to invest in and support. We're focused on working really closely with the industry here in New Zealand, and have already made some introductions there. So if there are any businesses that are looking for some input, expertise and advice, then hit me up and I'll pass you on to the excellent team at Binance Labs.
Okay, thank you very much, Ben. You've been very forthright and open and direct in terms of the questions that I've asked you, and I really appreciate that. And I am so looking forward to catching up with you next year, when hopefully we'll be in a completely different world and we'll have a lot more to talk about. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Gautam. Appreciate it.